Hello everyone and welcome back to the second game we're covering from Norway Chess Round 8. It's also the second game that finished, also in classical time format, much like Gukesh's previous two games. He defeated Magnus Carlsen in classical and he defeated Arjun Ergasi in classical. And also in the first half of the tournament he defeated Hikaru Nakamura in classical. So he has really been taking down some amazing players in classical. Can he continue? Can he take down Hikaru now with black and make it a 3 out of 3? That would be incredible, but one thing's for sure, Hikaru will be looking for a win in classical with the white pieces. So let's check it out. It's quite the game. Hikaru with white opens with pawn to e4. We have pawn to e5 by Gukesh, knight of 3, knight to c6, sorry about that, and Hikaru strikes with the Scotch, pawn to d4. And okay, e captures on d4, we have knight captures, knight to f6, the Schmidt variation, knight to c3 by Hikaru, and bishop to b4. Hikaru captures on c6, we have b captures, and now bishop to d3. Okay, so obviously waiting for black to execute pawn to d5, but Gukesh first castles, we have castles by Hikaru as well, and pawn to d5. So all been played before. E captures on d5, and now c captures on d5 is the top move recommended by the engine and the top move played in the position. But bishop to g4 is what, well, you play if you want to mix it up a little bit. And it has been played by every top player in the world. Hikaru played it himself actually with black. Fabi played it, Magnus played it. So yeah, it's a very well-known move. f3. Bishop to h5 and bishop to g5. Pinning the knight, we have c captures on d5, bishop captures on f6, queen captures, and now knight captures on d5, attacking the queen, the bishop, and the c7 pawn. So queen captures on b2, grabbing the pawn and defending the bishop on b4. We have rook to b1, seemingly winning the bishop, but there's bishop to c5 check, king to h1, and now the queen just moves. Queen to e5, we have rook to e1, attacking the queen, and queen to d6. We have knight to e7 check, king to h8, all been played before, and queen to e2. And here we have rook 8 to b8. Now, there is a game, Fabiano Caruana had it with the black pieces against Yanni Pomnici. He played bishop to g6, and their game ended in a draw. And it's actually from the 2024 Candidates tournament. So it is a very, very analyzed game. Probably Hikaru and Gukesh have analyzed it both thoroughly, as you can see by the situation on the clocks. They're just pre-moving basically. So here rook 8 to b8 and bishop to g6, the move Fabi played, is the top move recommended by the engine. Rook 8 to b8 is the second move recommended by the engine, but you know, the evaluation is almost the same, so it's a matter of preference really. And it is now as of move 18 that we have a completely new game, but it's hard to say if Gukesh actually analyzed it that far, because he spent some you can see on the previous move he had an hour and 53 minutes, and after making the move this rook 8 to b8, almost half an hour, 28 minutes he spent. So maybe he analyzed it and then he was just recollecting, or maybe he just decided on the board that he wanted to play it. We will know once we see an interview with him. Queen to e4. Hikaru immediately goes for checkmate, which means Gukesh would block with bishop to g6. We have knight captures, and here we have a very, very interesting moment by Gukesh. Everyone, including your uncle, would play h captures on g6, and it is the top move recommended by the engine. We always capture towards the center, but when you are this strong at this level, you can break principles. And Gukesh plays f captures on g6. This opens up his rook on the f file, and maybe he can, let's say, trade on b1. Maybe he can get that rook to f4 if he will not be risking any back rank issues. So Hikaru says, nope, rook captures on b8, rook captures, and now pawn to g3. So nothing will be able to come to f4, but also Hikaru is preparing something very, very devious. We look at this, rook to f8, king to g2, and now bishop to b6. Gukesh just improving his position, but Hikaru strikes with pawn to h4. And yes, it is bishops of opposite color, but Hikaru will play h5, and then this diagonal will open up. Whereas for Gukesh, it's not that easy to use this diagonal. So we have queen to c5. He wants to go for queen to g1, but Hikaru says you're welcome. Not queen g1, queen to f2. Hikaru says you're welcome to do that. Pawn to f4. And indeed, should Gukesh go for queen to f2 check, king h3, there's nothing for that queen to do there. And also the pawn has moved from f3, so you cannot even capture it. So queen to f5, offering a trade of queens, and Hikaru declines. Queen to c4, now the bishop is attacking Gukesh's queen on f5, queen to f6, and now rook to e5, just limiting the mobility of the black queen and preparing that pawn to h5. So queen to d6, and first pawn to c3, taking away the d4 square from black's pieces. And if you go rook to d8 here, which seems like a very nice move as the bishop was just weakened, then Hikaru has this awesome queen to e4 move, and you cannot capture the bishop due to the back rank mate. h5 is coming, and there's not much you can do here with black. So after c3, we have queen to a3 by Gukesh. Hikaru goes queen to h3. He wants to avoid maybe some queen to c1, queen to g1. So king h3 right away, and now Gukesh repeats. Queen to d6. Hikaru again goes back, king to g2. Queen to a3, and Hikaru repeats again. We have queen to d6, and should Hikaru repeat again, it will be a draw by threefold repetition. So of course he doesn't. Queen to e4. Threatening pawn to h5. We have bishop to c5 and king back to g2. We have queen to b6 and king back to h3. Queen to d6, just, repeating, as that's all Gukesh can do in this position. And Hikaru says, nope, not today. Pawn to h5. We have queen to d7 with check. Gukesh already down to 13 minutes. King to g2 and bishop to d6, attacking the rook, rook to e6, again, even further limiting the mobility of the black queen, and rook to f6, also keeping around that g6 pawn, but Hikaru just goes rook to e8 check. Here Hikaru kind of left the table, and then after Gukesh played rook to f8, Hikaru came back and immediately played rook to e8. So this is the move that he was expecting. Bishop to f8, blocking, and now Hikaru plays the beautiful queen to a8. Threatening rook captures on f8, so you have to defend. Queen to d6 guards the bishop alongside the rook. And here rook to d8, attacking the queen, also defending the bishop on d3, queen to e7, and now h captures on g6. We have h captures, and there is only one move that wins the game for Hikaru on the spot. Where actually there are two, but one is really messy and the other one is particularly clean. So what would you play here if you had this position, with white against a world champion? Have at it while I give you a couple of seconds. Bishop captures on g6 looks like a really nice move, but it's not the one that we are looking for. The one that we are looking for is queen to c8. Hikaru did spend some time here. In the end, he played it, but it is incredibly powerful, and he's going for queen to h3 check. Now, bishop captures on g6 allows queen to e2 check, and then you have to suffer through all sorts of check. Like, look at, if you guys are wondering, queen to f1 check, king to h4, you have to even allow captures, captures, and captures. And now it's going to be very, very hard to avoid all of the checks. Even after, for example, king to h5, you will have to give up the bishop, king g4, queen captures with check. Yes, you're up the exchange, but you're going to have to suffer through a lot of checks. So Hikaru played the cleanest possible, queen to c8, and now what's the threat here? If white makes sorry, not white. If black makes a silly move here, let's say pawn to a5, then you go for queen to h3 check, king to g8, and now bishop to c4 check, rook to f7, and you can just trade everything, and that's pretty much it. For example, rook captures, the rook is pinned, you cannot capture with a king due to queen to h8 checkmate, so queen will have to capture, and now you just pin it again, queen to f6. And after a4, that's all there is to it. The black can never move a single piece, and you just bring your king over to g6. G5, capture the pawn on g6, and then capture on f7. And there's nothing you can do about it. King to g4, whatever, c5, you're going to play king g5. You can even give one check because it's literally the only move you have. And once king captures on g6, you will capture, win the rook, and then win the game easily. So it's really a nice poetic position. But Gukesh makes it difficult for Hikaru. Plays queen to c5, and now not only does he stop bishop to c4 check, but also if queen to h3, he can block with queen to h5. So it's a very tricky move, and again, Hikaru finds the absolute best move, which, again, if you haven't seen the video, feel free to pause and find it. It's really a nice move. The move that wins the game beautifully for Hikaru here is bishop to e4. And he's saying that, okay, I cannot play bishop to c4, but I can still claim this diagonal with bishop to d5, which also blocks the queen from reaching the h5 square. And while you can play pawn to c6 to stop bishop to d5, then Hikaru would just play bishop captures on g6. Now you cannot capture due to rook captures on f6. There are no checks with the black queen. And okay, you're still gonna go for something like queen to h3 check. You can even bring the bishop to c2 to b3 to go to target g8. So again, it is elimination by light squares. So after bishop to e4, g5 by Gukesh. He's going all out here. He already came back from the dead in the previous two classical games against Magnus and Arjun. Maybe he can do it for the third time in a row against Hikaru. We'll see what happens. F captures on g5, queen to f2 with check, king to h3, and now do you continue checking? This is the last big variation we'll show, as it is really crucial. If queen to f1 check, bishop to g2 will block, queen to f5 check, and now you can either trade queens or march up the board, but you can trade queens. Let's say captures, and pawn to g6. There's nothing Gukesh can do here. The rook cannot move, otherwise you're going to lose the bishop. If you play king to g8, then just bishop to e4. In the end, you will also play bishop to d5 check, and black will have to give up a rook, because if you go king to h8, rook captures on f8 will be checkmate, because the rook cannot remain on the f file. So rook to c5 will be played. You will improve your position as much as possible. Let's say rook h5, king to g4, rook to c5. Finally, you'll deliver a check, and now black either gets checkmated or you will have to give up the rook. And then, of course, this is a much better position. You're up a pawn, you're up the exchange, completely winning for white. So after king h3, Gukesh goes for rook to f7. He just tries to hold on to a passive position. Maybe Hikaru goes wrong, but Hikaru plays the absolute best. Pawn to g6, rook to f6, and now queen to g4. Just going, for checkmate. There's nothing you can do here. And Gukesh tries queen to f1 check, but now Hikaru doesn't, of course, move the king. Even though you can play king to h4, and then if queen to h1 is covered by the bishop, so you cannot play that. And yeah, not a lot of checks that you can play. So it's just a matter of time. Like rook to f2, if you prepare a check, then just queen h5, king goes here, and then queen to h7 will be checkmate. Or, bishop d5 will be mate in 2, whatever you want. So after queen to f1 check, bishop to g2 was played. This is much cleaner, and it requires you to calculate a lot less. Queen to c1. Now, again, you can go back with queen to h6, but it doesn't matter. Queen to h4 with check, queen to h6, and Hikaru finishes it off beautifully. Bishop to d5, and he was in this position on move 50. That world classical champion, Gukesh Domaraju, resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. He is in complete zugzwang, and whatever he plays just loses terribly. The real threat, let's say a silly move is played, is just bishop to f7. And now rook captures on f8 ends the game. And if you trade queens, doesn't help you out all that much, because whatever you play, let's say c6, okay, you're still going to play bishop to c4. And once a5, you're just going to play king to g5. And once, let's say, a4 is played, then rook to d1. And that's it. The king nicely covers g6 pawn. You're going to play rook to h1, and that will be checkmate. So, beautifully played by Hikaru, and it all went wrong for Gukesh, I would say, all the way here when knight captures on g6 was played. If h captures on g6, I mean, this is normal. But Gukesh wanted more. He wanted to win with the black pieces. He played f captures on g6. He wanted, again, to go into a crazy position where he will be, let's say, worse, or, he will have to find a series of 20 unique moves to survive, like he did against Magnus and Arjun. But Hikaru said, nope, no, you won't, not for the third time. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I said I will only show the standings after I show you all of the games, but I'm probably gonna show the Fabi game tomorrow, as it's already very late here in Croatia. So I will show the standings now. If you guys want to keep it as a surprise until tomorrow, you can stop watching the video now and then, be amazed when I show it. But I will show the standings now, as it's very, very relevant. So at the end of round 8, these are the final standings. Not the final, the round 8 standings. Fabiano Caruana is now tied with Magnus Carlsen, as both of them lost. Magnus lost in Armageddon, but Fabi lost to Arjun in Classical. Fabi was winning. He was winning for the better part of the game, and then he made a huge blunder, and Arjun took the win beautifully. Fabi had to give up a queen, and Fabi thought for sure that he would just, he will be this close to winning the tournament. He would be 3 full points ahead of Magnus Carlsen. Again, Arjun said nope, not today, and now Magnus, after having a really tough tournament, is now tied for not tied, but very, very close to being tied for first place with Fabi. But yeah, Hikaru tied with Gukesh in third place with 11.5, Arjun 10.5, and Wei on 8 points. So 2 more rounds until the tournament ends, but still anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen. Hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Robert Arathun, Carlos Salinas, London Initiative for Safe AI, Ricardo Paulin, and Richard Schwartz for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.